Hey everyone, this is Itai, co-founder of Dynamic, and today I wanted to show you a cool demo of all the cool things you can do with Dynamic, starting from the very basic SDK configurations all the way to some of this advanced stuff you can do in our developer dashboard. We'll get started in a second, but just as a quick overview, what Dynamic is a Web3 authentication platform for developers, meaning we can help with anything from a very simple wallet adapter to kind of multi-chain login to linking multiple wallets to the same account to authorization and onboarding tools, all kind of in a single platform. And we'll see a lot of that in this demo. We'll start with the very basic stuff and we'll move to the advanced stuff. So let's dive straight in. And I'm excited to show you what we have. So at the very basic level, I set up an environment with Dynamic. I pulled our SDK via NPM and set up a very basic configuration, as you can see. And at the really simple level, you get a connect to your wallet button with a wallet adapter that kind of just works, right? You can connect, you can authenticate, Dynamic handles sign with Ethereum for you. It returns JWT, so you don't have to worry about any of those details. And once you log in, it gives you this really nice login module where you can kind of copy an address, disconnect, change chains, and so on. But now that we have the very basics done, let's disconnect and start getting to some examples of what you can do. So first, we start by signing and authenticating, but we can also actually say, you know what, let's only connect and not authenticate for now. And we can do that for multiple reasons. One is if our platform is something like a DeFi platform that interacts directly with a smart contract later on, or if we want to defer signing until later in the onboarding process. So make it really easy for someone to start. So in this case, we initiated a connect only, MetaMask is already connected, so it'll just kind of work. So you have that full flexibility with Dynamic. Let's disconnect and continue. So we'll remove connect only and we'll switch to something else. Let's actually say that instead of just having you log in with single wallet, I actually want you to be able to kind of connect multiple wallets to the same account. And you can do that with a single line of code. So I can say multi-wallet, and I'll define that as true. And at that point, what Dynamic does, which is pretty cool, is we would, let's refresh this again. We would essentially switch from that module that you saw into a slightly more sophisticated module. So let's connect and sign. And that sophisticated module allows you to start linking multiple wallets to that same account. So you can add a second wallet and a third wallet and a fourth wallet, or multiple wallets from kind of the same provider, all combined together. Now we will handle all edge cases for you. We'll handle transfers and things of that sort. It just kind of works. Now we'll come back to this module later on as it gets a little bit fancier, but we'll kind of log out for now and we'll continue. And I want to show you guys one more cool thing on the SDK front. We'll keep multi-wallet and then we'll jump into our developer dashboard. So on this SDK side, I want to show you one more cool thing, which is to say, you know what, I actually don't need that entire list of wallets. I actually just want to show a subset of those. So I'll say wallets filter, and I'll define filter and sort wallets. And I'll say, you know what, I want to automatically only show MetaMask. I want to show Zengo. I'll show Coinbase. And I want to show Wallet Connect. Now, Dynamic will automatically take that information and change the SDK to show that. Right? So we automatically are able to filter and sort through a subset of wallets. I can actually say, you know what, I want Wallet Connect as my second option. And at that point, Dynamic will just update. It's super flexible in that sense, and we'll see a lot more of that in a second. But let's kind of remove Wallet Filter for now, and let's kind of move away from this environment very quickly to our developer dashboard. So this was only a short part of Dynamic. The real power of Dynamic actually is your developer dashboard. So as a developer, you get access to this. You have your sandbox environment and live environment where you can start doing more magical things. So very quickly, you get full user analytics through Dynamic. You can see which wallet logged in. As you can see, I logged in with MetaMask. You can see that I connected and authenticated. You get full user management, so you can see who logged in, things of that sort, which is pretty cool. Now, I actually want to focus on two things, the design tab and configuration tab, which is where most of things can happen. So first on the design side, so one important thing about dynamic is, as the name suggests, is fully flexible and fully dynamic. So you can change colors and themes and corners, and you can do all of those through props, or you can use some of our built-in tools. So as an example, let me choose dark mode. Let me choose a subtle kind of background, and I'll apply that, and we'll stick with dark mode for the rest of this session. But also I can start doing fancier things. So I can say, you know what, let me create a galaxy era theme, and I'll apply that. Or let me create a matrix theme. And if I apply that and save, Dynamic will automatically kind of pull that setting into our SDK and change the look and feel to kind of match what we define. So in this case, we defined matrix, and it just kind of works. Now, we'll come back and actually we'll stick with our default dark theme for now, and we'll apply that, and let's continue moving forward. So what you've seen is you saw a very basic kind of EVM chain, but we only had one. So you know what? Let's add a couple more. So let's add optimism, and let's add the new base chain from Coinbase. We'll add Arbitrum as well, and we'll just apply that. And as soon as we do that, and again, kind of refresh and log in, Dynamic will kind of automatically add those chains to your switch to let you kind of choose which are the right chains for you and add those here, right? So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but it gets the job done. Now you can move beyond just EVM into things like Solana and Flow. So let's say I actually want to enable Solana wallets. Let me enable those. And let me also enable Flow wallets. Now, one really cool thing is that Dynamic provides this interface at the SDK level that lets you abstract away some of the functionality of each chain into shared functions. So you don't have to think about that extra Phantom wallet or that extra Dapper wallet. We will handle kind of the differences for you. So I turned that on, and now we have Phantom or we have Blocked-on Flow, and it just kind of works, which is pretty cool. Dapper and Glow as well. Now let's move from chains and actually into this area. So we talked about Dynamic as an authentication tool, but Dynamic can actually also become an information capture tool. So we can say, you know what, as part of onboarding, I really want an optional alias for folks, and I really want an optional email address for folks. And we'll apply that, and as soon as we do, and kind of go back and refresh, Dynamic changes from just an authentication tool into a full onboarding tool. In the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to define whatever information you capture you want with things like custom fields. But let's kind of connect MetaMask, and as soon as we connect, Dynamic will now become kind of an information capture tool. It'll ask me for my alias and email address as part of the login flow. Now, I'll log out, and we'll come back to that in a minute, but it's pretty cool. You just turn it on, and it works. Now, we talked about Dynamic as an authentication tool. We talked about it as an onboarding tool. Dynamic is also an authorization tool. So you can very quickly turn on an access list, create a beta list, let's call it beta access, and essentially define only folks that should be able to log in. So in this case, we'll actually add 0 addresses, and we'll turn that on. And now, as soon as we come back and refresh, Dynamic turns just from that authentication tool into a full access management tool. So I'll log in, I'll connect my MetaMask, and as soon as I sign, Dynamic will know I'm not on the list and block me. You can do this with wallet addresses, you can do this with NFT gating. It's pretty flexible in that sense, and it can just control either your closed beta or your closed membership communities very, very quickly. Now, I'll go back and I'll turn it off, and we'll talk about kind of 2 other things. So the first one is a scenario that we probably all know, which is what happens if someone doesn't have a wallet. Now, one of the really cool things about Dynamic is that you can very quickly support folks without wallets within a few toggles. So I'll click sign with email, and it's the same with social. And I'll say, you know what, let me add a sign with email box for everyone that wants to log in and enable them to kind of automatically log in. Now, instead of optimizing it for Web3 users, I actually want to optimize it for Web2 users. So having email as a first order citizen, and I'll apply that, and I'll refresh. And what happens now is the Dynamic SDK will morph and change to show email login as kind of the top level item. We still have our wallets here, and you can kind of go back and forth, but you also have email. So you can progressively onboard folks, starting from kind of email login and having them add a wallet later on. Or if you want to, you can actually toggle in things like Magic Link or Web3 Auth and automatically generate a wallet for them as part of that login process. So you have that full flexibility within a couple clicks to completely define the flow for you. Now we're almost done. I want to show you one really cool thing. So we have our sign in, right? And we'll go back and we'll log in with MetaMask. And because we have multi-wallet enabled, and we captured some of this information, and we'll come back to it, we'll actually hit continue. Our module that we saw at the beginning morphs from a multi-wallet login into a full profile management tool. So you can, again, connect wallets, but you can also now kind of control someone's profile and edit that information. So edit their alias and first name very, very quickly. We now have that chain drop down that we talked about. So Dynamic turns not just from that authentication tool, but rather authentication, onboarding, authorization, and user management all kind of in a single SDK very, very quickly. Now, that was a lot to cover, and there are a lot more really cool things about Dynamic, but I'll end it here. And I'll just say thank you for spending 10 minutes with me and listening to the overview of Dynamic. You can check out all the features that we have on dynamic.xyz. It's open today. You can try it out by going to app.dynamic.xyz and creating an account. We have a really cool free tier where you can do some of the basic stuff on multi-chain within a few minutes, and we have some advanced tiers for you to use. And again, with that, thank you. Have a wonderful week. I appreciate the time.